Today we're talking about cluster training, which is one of my favorite methods to use both for beginners and sort of more intermediate and advanced athletes, but you would use them for different reasons at different times of their training. So let me explain how and why you should or could implement this right now. Here we go. So what is cluster training and how does it work? Well, basically it's a way to put a mini rest in between a set. So in this case, we're going to do 4 sets of 3, 3, 3, or 9 total repetitions, and there's usually a dot or a period in between each one. Every time you see a period, you're going to take a short rest. So let's say I was doing a back squat. What I would do is take my weight on my back, do 3 squats, and then I would put it back in the rack and rest. Usually the rest is going to be for about 10 to 15 seconds. That allows for just a little bit of recuperation. Then I'm going to take the squat out again, do another 3, put it back in the rack, take a 10 to 15 second rest, and then do another 3. Now my set is done, and then I'm going to rest for anywhere between 1.5 minutes to 3 minutes plus, depending on the person. A newer person probably only needs 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. A more advanced person probably should take 3 minutes or more before going on to the next set. And for a more advanced person, it allows them to take a small rest in the set, which enables them to lift a little bit more weight than they could if they just did a set all the way across. So for a more advanced person, we're probably looking at something down here. This is one of my favorite protocols where you do 4 sets of 1. And if you think about what that person could lift for a true 4-rep max, they're probably going to be able to lift more weight for those repetitions in this style because they get that little bit of a rest. Even though it's not full recovery, it's going to allow them to lift more total weight across those repetitions, have a stronger impact on the body, and lead to a better kind of sharpening or peaking effect if done properly. Now, typically, you're going to use the exact same weight for all the sets. So you're not going to, take weight off or put weight on in between the little mini breaks in the set. For the entire cluster, you're going to use the exact same weight. And then usually, if you're able to get all the repetitions with high-quality reps, you're going to automatically increase the weight on the next set and push it up as far as you can. But if you miss a rep or you're just right at your limit, you're either going to stay the same or drop back down. How I would implement that for a new person, the advantages are that it lowers the amount of fatigue, it allows them to sort of reset and dial in their technique a little bit, and it leads to higher quality practice in their repetitions. So instead of doing a set of 8 to 10 repetitions, let's say, you could break that up into multiple sets of 1 to 3 reps with a little bit of a rest in between to allow them to have a mental reset and a physical reset to improve their position, refocus on their key points, and if you're working with the client, to give them better coaching feedback and have a little break in between to do that. We know that beginners need lots and lots and lots of repetitions to sort of get better and to practice and to build a good base. But sometimes with certain exercises like a bench press, for example, having little breaks, mini breaks in that set is really beneficial to regain position and do a better job overall. With a more intermediate or advanced athlete, we can use cluster training as a very high stress and very high intensity kind of peaking program. Now, typically we're only going to want to do this maybe once a week and run it for about 3 weeks depending on the person, because after that, because the intensity is so high, the weights they're handling are so heavy, and the volume is relatively high as well, that is going to lead to burnout if you do it too long and lead to some problems. But it can be really, really effective when done for a short period of time at the right time in training after you've kind of built a good base and have done lots of kind of volume or accumulation work. At that point, it can be very, very effective, and I've used it personally and with many clients who've had a lot of success when you put it into the right spot.